Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS Small Business. Welcome to this special webinar relating to the innovation companies capital raising for businesses opportunities that are now being presented by the federal government. Today I'm going to be joined by Michael Murtagh from the Business Angels Group on the Gold Coast, Rick McAnally from Founders Forum on the Gold Coast, and I am going to deputise for Peter Miller from BizTalk because we've had problems with the internet connection with him today. So the new legislation that's been introduced and passed in the House of Representatives and is currently in the Senate relates to crowdsource funding and early stage innovation companies. This is a major breakthrough for Australian businesses in being able to raise money from the public in a different manner. So first of all, looking at the crowdsource funding entities, they are public companies, which will mean that you will require 3 directors. The maximum asset value for a crowdsource funding company is $5 million, although in the Senate I noticed that the Labor opposition has moved an amendment that that figure be increased to 10 million. So we'll keep you informed of what happens there. The company must have sales under $5 million per annum. And the maximum capital that can be raised in a 12-month period by a crowdsource funding entity is $5 million. And the maximum annual retail investment is $10,000. So a retail investor is someone with less than $2.5 million in assets or earns less than $250,000 per annum taxable income. So with sophisticated investors, who are those people who have more than 2.5 million in assets and to earn $250,000 per annum in taxable income, that's an alternative, or earn that. There's no limit to what their investment can be. The early stage innovation company has to be formed in the last 3 years, although there is some provision for companies that were formed in the previous 6 years, as long as they are able to pass some additional tests on the expenditure that they've been undertaking, which would have to have been primarily of a research and development nature. These companies must have total annual expenditure of $1 million or less, and their assessable income cannot be over $200,000. The income does not include any grants that have been received from Accelerating Commercialisation grant that's processed through the Entrepreneurs Program. To be classified as an early stage innovation company, a business has to pass a 100-point innovation test. And this relates to a number of matters, including research and development, participation in the Accelerating Commercialisation grant. If you've undertaken both of those things, you just about get your 100 points. Have been a member of an accelerating program. The company's already raised $50,000 in arm's length equity capital, so obviously that's investments from people not involved with the directors or management team in the company. The business has registered patents or plant patents in the last 5 years. That should be plant, not plan, patents. And the innovation patents have been registered or registered designs in the last 5 years that are owned by the company. In other words, the company is able to show that it's been doing something in the research and development patent type space. Or the company is generally focused on developing for commercialization one or more significant improved products, processes or services. This is where someone's just starting off and needs to be able to substantiate that they have a clear aim to embark down the path that they will be able to develop some new products, processes or services or marketing or organisational methods. Retail investors can invest up to $50,000 per annum in an early stage innovation company. Now, these companies are going to gain a capital gains tax exemptions if shares are held for more than 1 year and less than 10 years. When the government initially announced this legislation, they were saying 3 years through to 10 years, but in the House of Representatives, that's been changed back to 1 year. And an early stage investment innovation company will enable an investor to obtain an investment rebate for tax purposes of up to $200,000. That's calculated at 20% on the investment that they make each year. The reverse to the no capital gains tax is that no capital losses will be allowed until the 10th anniversary of the issue of the shares. So that's the overview of the legislation. I'm now going to introduce you to Michael Murtagh. Michael represents the Business Angels group on the Gold Coast. He's been an active member of various groups since 2008. Michael and I were both involved as business advisors in the COMET program, Commercialising Emerging Technology, a few years ago. So Michael has a very wide knowledge of getting businesses investment ready. So we're just going to change over here and change the presenter. And Michael, it's over to you. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael Murtagh from an organisation called Gold Coast Angels, which is based on the Gold Coast. I wanted to talk to you a bit today about angel investing and Gold Coast Angels. So first of all, for those that aren't aware of angel investors, to give you a bit of a background, the first angel investors actually were back in the 1700s, 1800s, and they were funding very high-risk theatre productions where there's a good chance they'd lose their money, but there was a bit of philanthropic bent behind their initiative, and they wanted to be involved. And what's happened, that's moved on to general business angel investing. So now business angels invest in startup companies. We're mainly looking for technology or high growth companies that are really looking to the world market. So I suppose in many ways similar to some of the criteria for the new legislation that's currently in the Parliament. So angel investors fulfill an important role in the commercialisation landscape. They provide startup funding for businesses. They help through their experience, their mentoring, their networks. They help the startups, and that assists the startups to grow quickly and also reduces risk. So just going over the typical funding stages for a startup. First of all, it's what we call bootstrapping, which is someone's invented something and they're self-funding, or they're borrowing offices or being lent offices or equipment to do that very early stage. But the money soon runs out, so they turn to what we in the industry call the 3 Fs: the friends, the families, and the fools, who put up the next round of funding to get the project going. After that comes the business angels. So they're independent third party, not related to the founders per se, and they're private individuals who can make their own decisions. And they provide the funding to help the business grow further and achieve further milestones, so that they become credible as an investment to the venture capitalists. After the venture capital funding, the business continues to grow and achieve milestones, and sales start coming in, and expansion capital is the next wave of funding. And ultimately, the business may lead to an initial public offering or listing on the stock market, or alternatively, there may be a trade sale to a large multinational. So on the Gold Coast Angels, we've got about 14 core members and about a further 20 who turn up occasionally to our monthly meetings. We've invested in over a dozen companies, and over the years have put up in excess of $5 million into early stage companies. There's a lot of benefits of being in a angel group. There's some camaraderie, but there's also the ability to utilize each other's networks, again, to increase growth and reduce risk for the investment. It also allows the angel investor to, by collaborating with other investors, to diversify their investment portfolio. Rather than putting 200,000 into one business, they could put 20,000 into 10 businesses. So just to go over the process, if you know of companies that are looking for angel investment, deals typically come to us through networks, referrals from accountants, governments, universities, consultants. After an initial phone call and a discussion, a startup may be invited to attend a monthly meeting where they'll do a 10-minute presentation to the group of angel investors in a sort of boardroom style meeting. That'll be followed by 10 minutes of questions. Then the startup, after he's pitched, leaves, and the angels discuss it among themselves. And if there's interest, then one angel volunteers to become the point person, if you like, for further negotiations and due diligence. So negotiation and due diligence can take a month, but it can go on to up to 6 months, depending on whether there's some preconditions that may be needed to be met before the investors put money in. Our members do not have to invest in any particular deal. Typically, I'd say half to 3/4 would invest in a deal, but that changes on each deal. And typically, the individual angels are putting in between 5,000 and 50,000 per deal, or as a group between 200,000 and 750,000. So this new legislation is going to drive a lot of demand for activity in the innovation ecosystem, and our role is really to do two things, or three things. One is to assist new angel investors through education and our networks. A surefire way of stopping angel investing is to have the investors get burnt on their first investment. So going into an investment with the benefit of the experience of other angel investors is a huge benefit for them. The second thing that our role is to help startups optimize their opportunities. I mean, really, there's a philanthropic part to angel investment, and that's to create jobs and wealth for Australia. And then finally, we have fun. If we lose our money, then we'll all commiserate together. If we win, we'll all have a party together. So that's a bit of background on Gold Coast Angels. Peter will give you our details, and if any of you are looking for angel investing, then you can contact us. There's a couple of logos of some of the businesses that we've invested in. I'll hand back to you now, Peter.
I'm now very proud to introduce you to Rick McAnally. I've known Rick for quite a long while. Rick's been a very strong supporter of the investment industry. He's chairman of Founders Forum on the Gold Coast. He's been involved in a wide range of commercial activities, and he's passionate about trying to assist younger companies to get started. So I'd now like to introduce Rick McAnally.
So my name's Rick McElhinney and I'm the chairman of the Founders Forum. I'm an active angel investor, a member of the Gold Coast Angels. I've made 30 investments over the last 20 years. Founders Forum was created to fill a void, to allow entrepreneurs to present their wares to investors in a public forum. And it's this public side of it that makes it very different to the Gold Coast Angels. Founders Forum is public, as I said. Investors, business people, entrepreneurs attend these meetings. We don't use name badges purposely for Founders Forum events. This allows investors to attend who don't necessarily want to be recognised as investors, and of course many investors send along their accountants and lawyers to do the work for them. Whereas Gold Coast Angels is a private membership, and you know, it's very private. We make the decisions on who can come in and who are invited to the events. Almost all Founders Forum events are breakfasts, and we have a keynote speaker talking on a topic of interest, followed by a panel of experts discussing that topic in more depth. And then we provide each pitchee, typically 3 of them, 4 minutes to present. So they've got a very finite time limit. It's very hard on them, but it keeps the event moving. And then we follow that by 6 minutes of question and answer. And the purpose of the 6 minutes is actually to extract more information from the presenter in case they haven't done as good a job as maybe they could. So it's meant to help them. The company was set up as an initiative of the Queensland Economic Development Department in 1999. It's a not-for-profit organisation run by volunteers. The directors were set up, drawn from our community, including lawyers, accountants, university representatives and investors. Our speakers are top quality, as you can see from the short list. Clearly, they're keen to support entrepreneurial talent. It doesn't take much to get them to speak. They like doing it, and they do enjoy the process. Likewise, the panelists that we put together with the speaker are pretty well recognised as well. So it makes it very enjoyable and very informative for those people attending the events. We have a long history of supporting entrepreneurs. In the past 16 years, 264 pitches have presented, and these companies have gone on to raise over $80 million for their ventures. The next Founders Forum meeting is on the 12th of July, and it will be held at the Arundel Hills Country Club, north end of the Gold Coast, commencing at 6:30 a.m. The theme for the meeting revolves around new investment and innovation incentives, exactly what we're talking about now, being developed by both the federal and the Queensland governments. And our keynote speaker is Elaine Stead, who heads Blue Sky Venture Fund, and the panel discussion will be chaired by Linda Woods, who is from RBS Morgan and does the ABC breakfast show Stock Update. So if anybody or any of your clients are interested, they just go to the foundersforum.com.au website. It's very easy registration, and at that site they also have access to look at past pitches. We video all of the keynote speakers, all of the panel discussions, and all of the presentations, and people can go and see exactly what they're getting involved in. So if you have an interest, please register or get your customers registered. And thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing some people at the next meeting from this group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick. And if anyone wants to find out more about Founders Forum, you can please send me an email and I'll give you the details at the end. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to Peter Miller. Peter's the Managing Director of BizTalk Proprietary Limited. Peter's also had a wide range of experience in business operations. Peter was also a Comet business advisor working with Michael and myself for quite a number of years in assisting startup new businesses get investment ready. Peter's now established a new business called BizTalk, and I'm going to invite him now to give you an overview of the role that BizTalk can play in helping you to qualify under that 100-point test for the early stage innovation companies. So it's over to you, Peter.
Good afternoon, everybody. BizTalk was set up to make more entrepreneurs more successful. And the way that we do this is we have a network of experts in innovation, commercialization, and international expansion. They're accessed via our cloud-based marketplace, so it's basically a web application where you can find the expert that you need and at lower cost. Our expertise ranges, we have expertise within Australia, the US and Asian markets, and our ideal is to provide solutions to entrepreneurs for any type of business problem. So if you're in the process of raising capital or looking at the new government initiatives and trying to understand how you can leverage those for your business, then we would have experts on our particular platform that you can come to and you can find and you can make contact with almost instantaneously. So if you think that your company is one which can benefit from a capital raising or from other forms of capital injections through grants or other government assistance, then we have experts who can prepare your company to take on that type of investment. So we also provide access to various investors, angel, which Michael has spoken about, venture capital, which both here in Australia and in the USA, and also strategic investors, you know, the likes of IBM, Microsoft, large organisations all have internal venture funds looking for their right type of investment. So what we do is we provide problem-solving expertise 24/7, round the clock, via your smartphone. So with the latest program, what we are looking to do with the government initiative is, Peter mentioned it, there's a 100-point test that you need to qualify for before you can get access to the government programs. We'll have experts on our network that can help you to understand how to qualify. So for any capital raising type questions which you might have, and you just want to find somebody quickly who can answer that, then BizTalk is the way to go. I will mention that we haven't launched yet. We are about to launch in about 2 weeks' time. Both Peter Towers and Michael Murtagh will be available also through BizTalk. Thank you all for listening.
So just to talk about a couple of issues now to do with ESS small business, we've got some upcoming webinars. Tomorrow we've got a PPSR, Personal Property Securities Register System for individual businesses. This is very important. If you know nothing about it, it's probably very important for you, because unfortunately a large number of small businesses don't know much about it, and you could get caught. So it's worth understanding how that legislation affects you. On the 6th of May, we have a webinar, What Can a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, get rid of the jargon, can do for your business? And on the 11th of May, we have business plans are like maps for tourists. On the ESS Small Business website, which is www.esssmallbusiness.com, there's regular articles produced each week Survival Hints for Small Business. These are free. Please download them, have a look at them. There's a wide range of business and commercial information available. Most of it's for free. Some of it there is a small fee attached. And there's a whole range of free webinars. You can register for upcoming webinars, or you can view previous webinars, and they're free. On the ESS Small Business website, you can also find an accountant. If you are looking for an accountant who is committed to supplying a wider range of services, commercial services, rather than just income tax returns, we have a directory of those types of accountants for all over Australia on ESS Small Business website. All you have to do is to enter your postcode, and the system will identify accountants in or near your postcode who are committed to the ESS philosophies. So thank you very much for participating in this webinar today. Thank you very much, Michael Murtagh, Rick McAnally, and Peter Miller for your participation today. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.